Sex Cloud, the Lion King. In this Lion King scene, Simba collapses and sends a dust cloud into the sky, which appears to spell out the word sex. However, the film's special effects team argued that it was meant to read SFX as a tribute to the team. We're not buying it. Are you? The Naked Harpies, Fantasia. This one really needs no explanation. Kids may have seen their first on-screen nudity in the theatrical cut of Disney's Fantasia. See for yourself. Genie's bold one-liner, Aladdin and the King of Thieves. If you made it through Aladdin and the King of Thieves, you might have come across one of Genie's weirdest one-liners yet. As Princess Jasmine and Aladdin are set to wed, a crew of bandits intervene, causing the cast to rumble. At which Genie makes the joke, "I thought the Earth wasn't supposed to move until the honeymoon." Sex joke or nah, Disney fans?
Let me be the point man. I thought the Earth wasn't supposed to move until the honeymoon.
Mushu's creepy comment, Mulan. In Mulan, Mushu makes a blatantly dirty joke that suggests his powers allow him to see straight through Mulan's armor. As a kid, it sounds pretty innocent until you notice Mushu's gazing at her breast, which implies he really can see Mulan in all her nakedness.
If my powers are beyond your mortal imagination, for instance, my eyes can see straight through your armor. Oh! All right, that's it!
Possible vagina jokes, Brother Bear. This scene in Brother Bear seems only a minor foul, but should still be noted nonetheless. When two brother moose mistake Kenai, a human-turned-bear, for a bear, Kenai tries to explain that he isn't really. The moose decides that he must be a beaver. One big beaver. This one's a bit out of reach, but the big beaver line can easily be taken as a play on a part of the female anatomy by adult viewers.
I hate bears.
Well, gee, eh? You're one big beaver. Don't kid me.
Do either of you know where the lights touch the earth?
Yeah, no. No. Sorry, bear. Or beaver.
Hand gestures, the Black Cauldron. Many young viewers overlook the racy gesture made by the witch Orwen in the Black Cauldron. But now, in retrospect, the signals take on a new meaning. In this scene, Orwen politely asks Flam if she may pluck his harp. This may or may not have been her subtle offer to, give him a handjob.
You don't mind if I pluck your harp, do you, handsome?
Mating season, the Lion King again. The Lion King doesn't come without its brow-lifting moments either. Like this scene where Simba and Nala seem to be playing together, though not the sort of play kids are used to. What's really happening here is Simba and Nala are mating, and what's even more unbecoming is Timon and Pumbaa's voyeurism as they watch it all go down. Of course, there are no explicit details in the scene, but it's pretty plain to see. Strange play, Cinderella. The mouse song in Cinderella is as innocent as it is questionable. During the scene, the mice attempt to retrieve a beaded necklace for Cinderella until they're pursued by a cat. Trying to escape, the mice accidentally shatter the necklace. In order to retrieve it, one mouse slides the beads onto the other's tail. At first glance, there appears to be nothing wrong, but the imagery still conveys the sort of toy play that's ill-suited for young eyes. Mousy Striptease, The Great Mouse Detective. Everything about this bar scene in The Great Mouse Detective is wrong for kids, that it's hard to believe that it made the final cut in the film. In this scene, a lady mouse sings and gives a striptease, yes, you heard right, to an impatient crowd. The mouse sings, "Hey fellas, I'll take off all my clothes," and even flashes her behind at one point during her saucy performance. Watch.
Hey fellas,
Dog skinning, 101 Dalmatians. When you really think about it, everything about the plot of Disney's 1960s family film 101 Dalmatians is truly gruesome. Here you have Cruella de Vil, the movie's noted villain, trying to capture Dalmatian puppies for the sole purpose of skinning them for their fur. FYI, de Vil is a conjugate for the Dutch word villain, and vil which means skinning.
I don't care how you kill the little beast, but do it! And do it now!
Oh, please, Miss Now F.
Roger's... Roger's songs! Do what you like with them. Drown them.
Hairy implications, Beauty and the Beast. This Beauty and the Beast moment seems benign at first, but during Gaston's song, the brute sings, "Every last inch of me is covered in hair," while baring his hairy chest. To us, the very insinuation that every inch of this man's anatomy is covered in hair is not so age-appropriate for a Disney flick.
Every last inch of me's covered with hair. No one hits like Gaston.
Phallic bruises, Hercules. In this scene in Hercules, Hercules confronts the centaur Nessus after he attempts to capture Meg, the former's love interest, by delivering a blow to the beast's head that sends him into the sky. When a bruised Nessus finally lands, a peculiar bump develops on his head that oddly resembles a penis. Innocent act of heroism or yet another deliberate peen joke inserted by Disney? You decide. The size matter, Frozen. You probably wouldn't think there'd be a crude joke in Disney's Frozen. That is until you consider Anna's off-color exchange with Kristoff. Upon discovering Anna's engagement to Hans, the man she just met, Kristoff tests her on the things she should know about Hans. When asked about Hans' foot size, a likely allusion to a man's penis size, Anna responds, "Foot size doesn't matter."
What's his favorite food?
Sandwiches.
Best friend's name?
Probably John.
Eye color.
Dreamy.
Foot size?
Foot size doesn't matter.
Lip service, Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3 makes another muted attempt to sneak a dirty joke into their kid-friendly franchise. In this scene, the villain Lotso has snatched the mouth of Mrs. Potato Head in order to keep her quiet. Mr. Potato Head then confronts Lotso by saying, "No one takes my wife's mouth except me." BJ reference? Strong possibility.
Hey, no one takes my wife's mouth, except me. Give it back, you furry air freshener.
The minister's boner, the Little Mermaid. In this highly debated Little Mermaid scene, the minister appears to have a bump bulging out of his trousers. Though Disney producers insist it's the minister's knee, we can't be so sure the minister isn't having an erection right here. Scratch that, we know it isn't his knee.
Dearly beloved.
Crotch shot, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Now, there are plenty of scandalous scenes in Who Framed Roger Rabbit that aren't child-approved in the slightest. But one particular scene in which Jessica Rabbit's dress is lifted is a standout. After being flung from a vehicle, Jessica's crotch is shown for just a split second. If you pause the clip at just the right time, you'll notice her entire private area is shown.
I'm in this!
What an unfortunate accident.
This one.
Kronks' crotch tent, The Emperor's New Groove. This jokey scene in The Emperor's New Groove is not all that bad, but it wasn't meant for children either. In this scene in the movie, Kronk pitches a tent that is obviously too small for him, but just big enough to cover another part of his body, his pelvic area. Take it for what you will, but we're stamping this as another fail-a joke from Disney.
The peasant at the diner. He didn't pay his check.
Linguine's Linguini, Ratatouille. In Ratatouille, Linguini makes an embarrassing confession that doesn't go over the way he intended. When trying to come clean about his tiny little transgression to love interest Colette, her quick glance at Linguine's beltline is a hard indicator to misunderstand. No pun intended.
What?
I have a rat.
You have a rat?
No. I have this tiny, a tiny chef who tells me what to do.
The Topless Woman, The Rescuers. Chances are you probably missed the flash frame of a topless woman in the 1977 film The Rescuers. Or to let Disney tell it, the objectionable background image. The same objectionable image that led Disney to recall the film altogether in 1999. In the scene, Bernard and Bianca are flying fast through the city in a sardine tin. But thanks to a certain slow-mo clip, you can just make out the topless woman in the background. Watch.
Oh, I just love takeoffs.
Pinocchio's Bad Habits, Pinocchio. Another cringe-worthy Disney scene is seen in Pinocchio. Disney would easily argue that this scene wasn't meant to push an anti-drug message of how kids who turn bad decisions into bad habits can experience even worse consequences. It still doesn't take away from the scene's crude presentation to young children.
Yeah. It sure is.
As we get older though, we also learn that a lot of the scenes and jokes in Disney movies were a lot more mature than the audiences they were intended for. These disturbingly inappropriate and sometimes sexualized quips might have gone over our heads as children, but in retrospect, they were totally unsuitable for kids.